here in southern Ohio, our trapping season's starting pretty soon. A few animals are their seasons will be coming up, and so I started looking around the shed and getting some stuff cleaned up, and I come across a few traps that I had bought at a flea market, next to nothing. But anyway, they had never been processed right, and are pretty rusted up. I got one 220 here and a couple 110s. I'm gonna get them cleaned up and kind of walk you through how to do so. If you come across some cheap traps, you know, you gotta kind of watch that kind of stuff. If they're rusted up too bad, you don't want to be messing around with traps that are you know, degraded. You know, it's kind of a safety issue. You're trying to set one, you don't want to get yourself hurt, and you also want the trap to perform well. But I want to get these cleaned up and kind of show you how I do it. You can see here's a couple of the Econobear traps over what I'm cleaning up here. 110 here, 110, one spring. Yeah, that's the size. So between the 10s and the 20s, that's what it is, a spring there. And here's a 220. It's got the double spring or whatever. I'm not mistaken. I think I paid like $2 for all three of these. They're all wired together. They still had the original tags on them when I got them. They're rusted up, but they've been sitting in the shed, and it's got surface rust. You know, this raw steel. So I know that the integrity of these things is still good. They just don't look very good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some apple cider vinegar here. I'm gonna mix it in a bucket. I'm gonna lay these in there, and I'm gonna dump all of this here. This is a quart, and I'll probably add a little bit of water if I need to make sure they get covered up, and let them sit overnight and let this vinegar here eat away at that rust. And then I'll take a wire brush and I'll get back with you guys here probably tomorrow morning, and we'll go through wire brushing these things up a little bit, and I'll give you a look at how well that stuff cleans this rust off of these. My 5-gallon bucket here wasn't quite big enough for the 220 here, so I got my normally a boiling can out that I boil my traps and stuff up with, and I use it to boil skulls and all kinds of stuff in that nature. But throw that in there, and these 110s as well. All in there, and then just put the vinegar in there. Got a stamp. Alright. Now a little bit of water to fill that up. Dilution wise, this should be plenty. If not, you know, an extra day of soaking would be fine, but you don't take a whole lot of this vinegar to go very far. Anyway, I'll get back to you guys when I get these wire brushed up. The traps and stuff in there now. Kind of give that 220 a good push and get it down there flat, so I have to mix it no more than, it's close to about 50-50 water and vinegar. That should be a pretty good mix. I'll come back in the morning, get it wire brushed up, and give you guys a look. See them bubbles there where the vinegar worked on those. Vinegar, you know, pretty much like an acid. It worked on that rust there a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some water in here just to keep it, just dilute it out and flush it all out, and then get the wire brush and go and get these things finished up, hung up to dry. Maybe. For the interest of time here, I'm going to dump this out and scatter these out and give them some spray. And it's just cold out here this morning. I'm in shorts. Oh yeah, see, you can, I mean, I wish I'd have shown these DP traps beforehand or whatever. You see where the metal looks bare and bright? That was all rusted. I guess a little bit of wiring to do, but these things are sweet. I know that I had video of these traps here.
you can see, I mean, I got just a little bit of wiring to do, wire brushing to do on these, but right here, see that? Like, I mean, that's just gonna rub right off. I bet I could almost take a power washer to these things, but I'm gonna get the wire brush out. I'm gonna be too lazy. Yummy. And we'll give these things a brushing, and I'll show you what they look like when we're done.
After you get them cleaned to where you think they're clean, go ahead, check your triggers. You know, you want these triggers to be really free, you know, and the whole range of motion there. So the next step for these traps is to get them boiled and dyed. You know, it's really important to make sure those triggers are free, because whenever you do go to dye, that dye, depending on how they dry and stuff, you know, it can be a little sticky on its own, and so you don't want to have to go back and be sanding or wire brushing after you've done the dyeing, because you don't want to touch them. You don't want to touch them at all with your hands once you get them boiled. But just keep that in mind. It's not that hard to clean up some traps. You know, everyone knows that trapping out there, you know, you don't really make any money doing it. It's you know, more of a hobby, and you know, with being able to clean up some of these Rustio traps, kind of saves us $1, and you know, might as well, right?